At the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, what do? We facilitate, we're more like the bridge in between trade, Nigeria, and America. So if you're looking to do business with USA, you come to us. We link you to businesses in USA, you're seeking funding from them, investments. We link you to this organizations, this communities, these diplomats in US. And if you're in the US, you're trying to do business in Nigeria, you come to us. We link you to the right people you can do business with in Nigeria. So I'll say just last week, 2 weeks ago specifically, we brought in about 10 businesses from Illinois. It was a very successful mission. They came to Nigeria to see how they can work with Nigerian businesses in various sectors from health, clean energy, manufacturing, construction, technology. So that's just the background as to what we do. Although initially I was informed that I was going to be speaking on trade between French Africa and English Africa, that's Anglophone, Francophone. So this subject matter just coming on the top of my head. To respond directly to your question, how can we possibly enhance trade in Nigeria on the global scene? It's quite complicated and it's very simple. So how do I break this down? For entrepreneurs and businesses in Nigeria who are seeking to expand, first of all, before you expand globally, you need to expand within your reach. We've heard so much about intra-African trade. I've been opportune, to travel with African Export-Import Bank, that's Africa a few times out of Europe, in South Africa, and they are very particular about intra-African trade. Just last week I was speaking to businesses in Nigeria trading within themselves. How do we trade within ourselves? If we're able to trade within ourselves, then we can seek to expand trade globally. But to respond to your question, But to respond to your question directly, I'll just speak to 3 factors. If you're looking at trading globally, the first thing is target audience. Who are the target audience you're looking at globally? Are you looking at the people on the upper career? Are you looking at people middle class? Or are you looking at people, very basic people who can afford very basic commodities? For instance, when you look at the products that Dangote sells, you're talking about Dangote salt. Any household in Nigeria can afford Dangote salt. You're talking about cement, Dangote cement. You're not talking about any household in Nigeria who can afford Dangote cement. You're talking about middle class people or people on the upper career. So the first thing is, if you want to sell to the global market, who are your target audience? You need to understand who your target audience are. Try as much as you can to study about your target audience, and then you can design and create a product that fits into that target audience. Then the second thing I'd like to say is cultural norms. So various communities, various societies, various countries are different. How it works in Nigeria is totally different from how it works in Benin Republic, how it works in Ghana, and then some of the complicated market like the US. So you need to also understand what the US audience or the US market wants. What do they want in terms of packaging, in terms of labeling, in terms of content? What do they want? Study, research. Ask questions, network with people who are already in the business and understand what the market wants. If you're able to tailor your products to what the market wants, then you can scale. Again, like I mentioned, these are the basics. And then the final, The final factor I would say I'll be looking at is funding. If you're looking at scaling your business globally, that's nearly impossible if you don't have funding. And so specifically for countries like the US, they have the AGWA. AGWA is African Growth and Opportunities Act. Unfortunately, it's coming to an end in 2025, and some people are advocating, some organizations are advocating that AGWA be extended. If you do not have the funding, it's difficult to scale globally, internationally. So now, what are your numbers saying? For your businesses, the business you're doing in Nigeria, what's the volume of business? What are the numbers saying? What are the prospects? Who are the people funding the business? Who are the people patronizing your business? Speaking to your clientele. Do you have that clientele? Do you have enough money to deal with the market tariffs, the taxes, and so many other requirements and requisites that come to the international community? So in summary, I would say understand the market, define your target audience, and then try as much as you can to review your funds. Thank you.
Thank you very much to you. Now, I really don't everything that in terms of policy and holders, maybe we're going to come back to that. So, to our next panelist, we're going to be talking about African trading right now, right? So, if you look